Welcome back to Femria Canine Training, and today we're going to be answering even more of your canine related questions to hopefully help you become better canine leaders that are more capable of raising perfect canine companions. Welcome back to Femria Canine Training. If you are new here, and my name's Will, I'm a canine behaviourist and the founder of FemriaCanineLeaders.com, and this is my wonderful wife Rachel. On this series we get questions from you guys over on Instagram. Rachel picks them out at random, asks me, and hopefully I can help you in any means possible, whether that's from breed selection to training, behaviour, psychology, business, anything that we can help you become a better canine leader that has better canine companions. That is exactly what we're here to do, and it's our passion at Femria Canine Leaders. So without further ado, let's dive into today's questions.
Okay, so the first question, someone has asked how they should deal with the stigma they have around their Cane Corso. Well, not that they have, that other people have around them.
The breed has in general.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely something that you are going to come across. We had it with our Bull Mastiff Roxy, didn't we?
Yeah.
She was the most kind-hearted, sweetest, gentle giant in the world. Yet people would still cross the road from us and would want to come nowhere near us. And if we were out on a park, they'd panic and run and clip their dogs back on leads. And if dogs were out playing and she wanted to go and play, there'd be people that would run over and pick their dogs up. And it's something that we dealt with for the entirety of her life. And it's something that is it's horrible. It's not very nice, is it? It's something that is one of our driving forces here. So obviously you guys know that we're trying to stop the amount of dogs from being put down. Everything we do kind of leads to that goal. And part of that is around education, around breeds, not only to better educate people more about these breeds, but then for people to make the right choice about those breeds. Now, how to deal with it is obviously it's quite a personal, subjective decision. If it's at a point where you don't want to deal with it because it's not going away anytime soon, I can definitely tell you that you should probably be not looking at a breed like a Cane Corso, because again, those things that we discussed are going to happen. It comes with the territory. Now, if you have got a Cane Corso, my advice to you is to be a shining light, be someone like Jason Corey out there training beautiful examples of what these breeds can and should be, and showing the world what these breeds can and should be and how incredible these breeds actually are. And hopefully over time we can better educate people on these breeds and let them understand that that they aren't all dangerous, savage killers. Now, unfortunately, there is certain people out there that do cause that bad reputation because they want these breeds, because they look mean, because they have a bad reputation, because they want to intimidate other people. If any of those people are watching, and I'll kind of call you out on that, that is a horrible thing, and it's that is ruining the reputation of these breeds. So it's a difficult one to answer. I will just say as well that you're not alone. It does happen, and what I would do is what I try and do personally is make it as a challenge to try and, like I say, be a good example. Be the change you want to see. Was that Gandhi? Did Gandhi say that? Someone said, be the change you want to see in the world. It's a famous quote in it, but be the change that you want to see with these breeds, and be a shining light, be a positive example. I don't know if you've got anything to add there.
No, I don't think so. I think, like you say, it's a personal thing. It's like receiving a criticism, isn't it? It's how do you handle that personally? But yeah, I think with Roxy, in a way, we just kind of had to let it not bother us because we knew that she was amazing. And I think people, not everyone, but people are willing to learn. A lot of people, I think especially in the UK, don't see these breeds very often, and it is intimidating, but given the chance to get to know them, and if you're Cane Corso, Bull Mastiff, I mean, it's not just Corsos. There's so many breeds that it works the same for. I think if yours is a good example of one, then you can really show people that that's not the case.
Yeah, and take pride in that as well. And again, seriously ask whoever asked this question, have you got a Cane Corso that's pulling on a lead, that's being really reactive, that's barking, that is badly behaved, then you are responsible for that. You have a responsibility to change that first. Now, however, if you've got, I always use Jason and Bruce Wayne as an example. If you've got a breed like that, then shout them from the rooftops, be a good example, and use it to educate people. You should be socializing these dogs all the time. So take them into public, let them meet lots of people. It's great for the dog anyway, well, you should be doing it, but it's also lovely for other people. And again, as much as there was a lot of people that we had trouble with that with, there was a few old ladies that would love to come and meet Roxy, and it really made their day to see a big slobbery bull mastiff that was really friendly and gentle.
Of even like just our friends, I think people who may have said, oh, I don't like big dogs, changed their mind on that, because once you got to know her, she wasn't a big dog in the way that she was scary, because she just wasn't at all.
And if, like I say, you don't want to have to deal with that, look at your giant schnauzers, Rhodesian Ridgebacks, maybe a Mastador. There is breeds that have this kind of guarding skill set that don't have that bad reputation, or at least not yet. So again, for people that is a big issue, when I do my consultations, a lot of people say, like, I don't want a dog that intimidates other people. So naturally, I might recommend like Ridgebacks and giant schnauzers. So cool. Should we go to the next question? I think we kind of covered that there. Yeah, I hope that helped, by the way. I know it's a difficult question to answer, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, next question. Where do you find reputable breeders, or where to avoid?
Well, isn't that that's a rabbit hole and a can of worms we can go down?
I will say, first of all, that we get tons of questions asking us to recommend breeders, and we don't, basically. That's our answer to it, because unless we've had direct experience with that breeder, how can we really comment on whether or not they're a good breeder? Now, they might be, obviously there's good breeders, but it's not for us to, we can give you tips, which I'm sure Will is coming up with a really long list now, of what you should be looking for in a breeder, but also different breeders are right for different people, and I think it's easy to forget that as well.
One of my many projects I have spinning in the back of my head is to have a kind of a list of Fenrir approved breeders down the road, but because if I do something, I have to be confident in putting my name to it, and I have to know that is the best in the world. So what that would require to run a program like Fenrir approved breeders, that would be somebody's full-time job. I'd have to bring employees in just to manage a program like that. Now, I would like to do it, but we're a long way away from having the resources to be able to launch something like that. Now, I'm going to help you out. There's going to be a few quick fire tips, but what I will say, shameless plug time, that in our Ultimate Owners Guides that we're starting to trickle out now, specific for each breeds, we do have a section on how to choose a perfect breeder for that breed and things that you should be looking for. Because obviously, again,
it does vary slightly depending on the breed.
And it's a complicated question to answer. So far, we've got a Cane Corso Ultimate Owners Guide and a Bull Mastiff Ultimate Owners Guide. They both have tips about how to choose a perfect breeder. And again, you can get them at fenrirdogtraining.com, or the link will be in the description. But very quickly, the overarching theory is about, for all breeders, there's like a list of things that all breeders should be doing along the lines of health checks and incredible socialization, and it should be clean. You should be able to see mum, you should be able to see dad, and be able to temperament assess both of those. You should be able to go and visit multiple times. You should be able to speak to previous customers. I hate talking about dogs like their products, but people that have bought puppies from that breeder before, that breeder should be able to put you in contact with a few to discuss what their experience was like and be able to see what those dogs have become like now. There's tons, like I say, it's a complicated list, but there's some kind of quick fire ones. And then that's kind of like the must-haves for all breeders. And then I personally then go down more of a subjective decision. Because any dog that comes into my home is a family companion, and first and foremost has to be wonderful with children in the home environment. So I personally are quite drawn to breeders that breed in the home and around the family and around appliances. Now, sometimes those breeders aren't professional breeders, but in my opinion, that doesn't mean that they're bad breeders, because sometimes they put their heart and soul. Sully's breeders were an example of that, weren't they? They done, it's the one litter they're done, and they're never going to do it again, but the effort that they put into that litter, and we have one of the best Labradors in the world as a result of that. And it fit perfectly because it married up with our lifestyle and what we wanted with a dog. And now, if I wanted a search and rescue Labrador, I wouldn't have looked for a breeder like that. I would have tried to find a breeder that breeds more from working lines. Or if I wanted a Labrador that lived outside, because it's a working dog and it lives in a kennel block outside, then I might go more down the lines of working breeders that breed for working roles, really intense, confident, outgoing dog breeds, or examples of that breed that are raised in kennel blocks outside and are comfortable in that environment. I do think that there's room for subjectivity there. There's certain things that are objective that I think need to be done, and then I think you have to kind of marry up. And then, so if that's like stage one, then the subjective being stage two, then underneath that, if you're happy with both of those things, then you can go to like your gut feeling. How do you feel about this person? Do you like the breeder? Are they nice people? Do you think they're doing it for the right reasons? And then trust. So kind of go like that from your head and work down would be.
Yeah, so we, I think again, it's different in the UK, isn't it? I'm not sure where this person's from. I do recognise her name though, so I think she might be from the UK. And there's a lot of not professional breeders, and that's not to say like we say that doesn't mean they're bad breeders. It's just that a lot of people just do it in the home themselves, don't they? There's no sort of regulation behind that, and I do think that perhaps makes it more difficult to assess whether someone is a good breeder or not. But I remember like when we got Mabel, that you had been texting other breeders before that, and you didn't feel it was right.
There was a couple of breeders that were like professional breeders that had very expensive dog, lovely looking websites. And when I had that conversation, I was like, this isn't right. It's not the dog I'm looking for. And then when I spoke with the breeders that bred Mabel, now unfortunately with what happened with her, a lot of people were critical, but it wasn't their fault. It was a horrible fluke thing that happens. It happens with children. It's horrible. It's awful. But but these things do happen. But as soon as I spoke with them, and as soon as I looked at when we went to view them, and in the house, they were in the living room. The TV was on. They were hoovering around them. They had a young son that was playing with the puppies every day, handling them every day. So then it was no surprise when Mabel came into our home, and from day one she was a dream with our boys. That was more important to me than them coming from champion line, Crufts winning. That can have its bonuses, and
it depends what you're looking for in the dog. Again, if you want to go on to breed, then you need to be looking more at those things,
or if you want to show them. Now it just so happens that the English Mastiff puppy that we're bringing in is kind of a lovely best of both worlds. Dad happens to be a multiple-time world champion. Mum is a glorious dog. And they are raised in kind of, they're a professional breeder, so they have a lovely, beautiful, I'm going to show you, we're going to document going over and visiting them. It's the nicest kennel setup I've ever seen, but all the dogs interchange with going into the house, and they'll spend a few days living in the house, and then they'll swap them over with a few days living in the kennel. And all the puppies, all the litters are raised in the house, so that all the adult dogs have a combination of both, which is lovely, and the puppies are all raised in the home. And on top of that, they have world-leading health checks, which with what happened with Mabel was important to me. Health guarantees that are virtually impossible to find here in the UK, very common over in America, and it's something you should be looking for. But again, with that comes a much, much higher price tag. And again, you have to be subjective and weigh these things up. And like I say, it's not as clear-cut as some people want that discussion to be. There's lots of elements to it, and you have to take in, you have to start with your head, but at some point your heart does need to come into the equation, I think. So they were two really interesting questions. I enjoyed those. I don't think I waffled too bad in that episode, did I?
I think it was long, but it was informative.
Okay, cool. Semi-waffle. That was a semi-waffling episode. Rachel, she was like, today, Will, you cannot waffle. Do not waffle.
Well, I've got places to be.
And I'm now waffling about waffling. But thank you so much for watching. Like the video if you enjoyed it. If you want to ask questions, come over, follow us on Instagram. You can do all that over on Instagram with Rachel. She does all of that stuff.
Will you link it below?
Yeah, it'll all be linked below. All of everything is always linked below, so you can go and follow that. If you need help with training, those links are all below. You're all awesome. If you're still here, Thank you.
No one's here.
No one's still here listening to this. If you are here, comment something. Comment something about waffling, because then I'll know that somebody has actually made it to me waffling about waffling. And we'll see you on the next episode of Fenrir Canine Training.